Hey guys. Hey guys.
Buckland Abbey is located in the southwest corner of England in the county of Devon. It's 30 minutes drive north of Plymouth, which we visited last week. Buckland Abbey was built in 1278 when it was founded as a monastery. For more than 250 years, monks farmed the vast estate. At the time, monasteries were more than just centres of worship. They were also places of learning and charity. These estates often had large land holdings and were often immensely wealthy and politically influential. The Buckland monks worked as ploughmen, dairymen, shepherds, carpenters and masons. Their farming skills and investment in local industry eventually made the order one of the richest and most influential. In the 1530s, King Henry VIII closed all monasteries. In 1541, Buckland Monastery was sold to Sir Richard Grenville. However, the most famous inhabitant was Sir Francis Drake, who bought it in 1581. Grenville and Drake hated each other. The abbey was under royal control, and so permission to buy would require royal approval. However, to request this would have let Grenville know Drake's intentions. Drake was close to Queen Elizabeth, and so he obtained the abbey through deception and only filed the proper paperwork once it was acquired. This was because Grenville would never have sold it to him. Monks built the great barn to store wool, fleece, cattle hides and crops such as oats, wheat and fruit from the nearby orchards. The barn also stored tithes, which were a form of local tax whereby farms gave 1/10 of their produce to the church. During the Second World War, the barn was used by the Admiralty to store grain. So was Drake born in this house?
No, he was born just outside Tavistock.
Oh, okay.
He bought this in 1581.
Right.
So after he'd done his round the world circumnavigation, and in order for Elizabeth to be able to knight him, he had to own property.
How big's the property?
Several hundred acres, yes.
Because I went in the barn and it was massive.
Yes,
It was like,
yes.
there's got to be a huge amount of land to have a barn that big.
Yes. Well, because obviously that was built when this was a church and the
Yes.
monks were here.
Right. This was just for the family, or too small an area for dining, for big entertainment?
Yeah, no, I think that would have been just for the family. That's presented to you as a tea and cakes. It's the dining room, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, originally the fireplace would have had a bigger room to heat because the corridors have been introduced over the years.
Oh, I see.
So when it was put in during the Tudor times, they didn't have corridors. They just walked from one room to another, or had larger rooms. So it would have been stunning, I think, but you wouldn't have been able to go far enough away from the heat, I don't think.
I mean, these look like relatively new bits of wood for the floor.
Yeah, the flooring.
But has it been reinforced over time, or just replaced?
Really just replaced, I suppose. The house was lived in until the 1930s, 1940s. Right. So people will have done things to the house to make it livable and up to date to that time they were living in.
Sure.
So what the National Trust has done, none of the furniture is indigenous to the house. It's been brought in to present you a period of time to see what it could have looked like when it was, in this room, Georgian period, but the rest of the house, Tudor.
Right.
So it's just showing how it, but it, you know, there are no records to say which room was which, really. Okay. It's just the National Trust has put an interpretation on it.
And Drake would have been Tudor, was he?
Yes, he was Elizabethan.
So Georgian period is...
That's like 1750 to 1850,
okay.
late 18th, early 19th century. Right. So a lot less than like the 1500s.
Yes,
But the original building, when it was an abbey, that dates back to the 1200s, 1278.
Yeah, I saw it,
It's very old. And there's bits around the house that the National Trust have revealed. For example, in the corner there, that would have been part of the actual church, the abbey.
Oh, wow.
That's one of the saints. And when you go out the door there, if you look back, you'll see the arch of what would have been the structure of the abbey as a church.
Right. And who's this gentleman? It's not Drake, is it?
That's Rembrandt.
That's the Rembrandt.
We're getting away there, but it's not a very good wall, but if you just look at the torch on it, it's slightly...
But this was just found by chance, wasn't it?
It wasn't found by chance. A number of paintings, most of them around the wall, apart from the big one there, was gifted to the National Trust and for display at Buckland Abbey. And the Rembrandt at that point was thought to have been just maybe a student of Rembrandt,
Right.
but it's been since taken away and tested. It's actually been declared an actual Rembrandt.
At sea in Drake's time, ships were hotbeds of disease and infection due to poor sanitation, cramped sleeping conditions on straw-filled mattresses on the hard decks, plus being constantly wet and damp. It was common for half the crew to die during a long voyage due to poor diet and disease. Drake's crew were better off than many as their circumnavigation diet was varied and included many types of meat, veg, staples and fruits. Due to the length of the journey, Drake's crew were forced to buy supplies as they sailed around the 5 continents. Their food included tropical foods in the Caribbean to penguins from the icy cold waters of the South Atlantic, plus flying fish, chickens, dolphins, penguins, seals, turtles, oysters, mussels, and in terms of fruit and veg, they had bananas, plantains, figs, lemons, limes, oranges, grapes, coconuts, cucumber, potatoes, beans, pulses, and many other variety of things. Many of these foods, whilst common today, would have been unknown to the sailors. Due to the lack of fresh water, sailors would not wash themselves or their clothes very often, and only had very few clothes worn during the day and night throughout the voyage. In 1573, Drake married his first wife, Mary Newman, in Plymouth. However, she died 12 years later. After that, he married Elizabeth Sydenham, who was 20 years younger than him and a wealthy heiress. In 1573, he became a member of Parliament and was given the title of Mayor of Plymouth. He didn't actively participate in government matters, however, as the Queen often granted him leave of service so he could complete her missions, one of which included the circumnavigation of the globe. He was the second person to do so in a single expedition. A year after returning to England, Drake was knighted aboard his ship, the Golden Hind. After becoming a knight, he claimed kinship with a prominent Devon family, also named Drake, and tried to adopt their coat of arms. They, however, denied any connection, and Queen Elizabeth had to intercede and grant him his own coat of arms to avoid a scandal. It was during this year that he bought Buckland Abbey. enjoy these two videos about Plymouth and the surrounding area. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Enjoy your week and look forward to seeing you on our return to Hertfordshire.